Oh, Smurf here with another episode of Trustless Degens. Yeah, that's where the applause comes in. This is the podcast where we talk about crypto, macro, micro, DeFi. Pretty much insert buzzword here, as I like to say weekly. Everything else changes in between. But yeah. Introduce my co-host today. We have the Infinite, our resident normie. And we have the man, the myth, Wreck Satoshi, or Satoshi Wrecked. Okay. Well, that's I don't know what to take of that, but
we get wrecked always. Wreck Satoshi wrecked.
Makes sense. I got it. And myself, Smurf. So before we go into anything too in-depth today, we got a few topics that we'll be covering, such as the FOMC, inflation, CPI data, Binance, Uniswap, Coinbase, and I'm sure a host of other topics, because we also have some really cool tweets that we're going to be going through. I think they'll help us generate some fun conversation today. But before we get into all that, folks, how you feeling?
Well, like I said last time, surprise, it's still bearish, but I think we're almost around the corner. I don't think there could be more FUD, like too much more, to where everything's blowing up. We did get our first good inflation report and stuff, but bearish overall. But I think it's about to hit the flip. We're about to hit the switch. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Satoshi, how you feeling?
I feel like I don't know. I kind of feel neutral. Like after the dump today, I was just like, damn. Like, why are we dumping? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I don't really see a reason, so whatever.
Yeah.
But it seems like the pivot has got into everyone's mind now. So that's what I'm thinking. How am I going to pivot from here? Like the Fed did.
How to pivot? Makes sense. And myself, been expecting a dump for a while now. Been calling for 24,000. I don't know if we touched 24,000 on the Bitcoin today, but I know it got really close. Been calling for that 24,000 for like over a month now. So it got really close to that. Having it happens, it hurts. You call for it. You don't really want to see it happen. But that's happening. And so, yeah, nothing unexpected. When I look at the charts on like a short, because like I also like look at chart, right? And I just look at like the trend of it. And I'm like, the trend kind of shows downward trend. Like I think about the macro conditions or whatever, or the catalyst for Ethereum or Bitcoin, really. And I'm like, I feel like there's like bullish catalyst. But then when I look at the trend on charts, it's just like, okay, but it's currently in a downtrend. So it needs something to change that trend, which is why I was calling for the 24,000 after like a blow off around 30,000. So it's like, okay, all that's just kind of playing out. And I think it's just going to be a matter of, because like the Fed doing their thing today, that just like accelerated things. I think it's just going to be a matter of when does exhaustion come in the market in terms of like people like the sell off. Like eventually it's just going to be like an amount of exhaustion, same as there was before. There became a time previously where like it was like I remember the bottom of Ethereum and the bottom of the market, because when I looked at perp dexes, 3x long had like a $700 or $600 liquidation. So you could go 3x and you weren't going to be liquidated unless Ethereum went down to like $700. And I was like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You could just go long here. And sure enough, it never did. It never went down there. And like, that was like the bottom, and it just took off. And that was when it was around like that, like $900,000, like level range and stuff. So I'm like, there's certain things like that where you can kind of maybe feel it. So that's where we're at. That's my feelings. We'll see how it plays out. Before we jump into things, usually right now, I play a a very special video. But we got a different video for today. We got a different video for today. It's an emergency news broadcast from the man himself, Jay Powell. See what he got to say.
Yep.
Oh, Jay Powell.
Did I tell you, motherfuckers? You fucked around and found out. Now I'm going to be your mom's new boyfriend. I'm going to get the long end of the yield curve up. Just you wait. I'm coming for that bussy. And no, I am not talking about Treasury.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Man, Jay Powell.
Talking about that bussy.
The internet remains undefeated. I was telling you beforehand. I was like, bro, sometimes I find some crazy stuff at work. That was something that I found. Oh, man.
I'm gonna be your mom's new boyfriend. I was like, goodness gracious.
That was like pretty much my exact response when I found that earlier. It's like push play, and I'm like, bro, what is wrong with people? Oh man. All right, so we've gotten our host opinions on the market. Now we're actually going to check out the market. We're going to look at the crypto bubbles, and we still do not have banter bubbles. So if you would like to speak with Ran or Miles and get us a partnership where we don't have to, I don't know, maybe they make us a fake email account, because I ain't making one. I ain't attaching my email account to it. I don't know. Can you
the
attach
sad
to,
thing
like,
is they make you sign up through Twitter.
Yeah, I'm like, can we just like do like a wallet connect or something? Can you guys do like POAPs or something like that? Do a POAP, connect with Galaxy.
You want Rand to have your wallet connection?
I would rather get an NFT via Project Galaxy or just Galaxy, and them like check my wallet to see if I have that NFT versus doing the whole like Galaxy already has my Twitter. I don't need to be attaching to all these different websites and stuff. It becomes sketch. Use the POAPs. I don't know. They need to be used more.
So you're like, nah, bro. No.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
I already
He's like, nah.
Crypto banters, and I don't use it really. I haven't used it, but because I don't know. I don't know. I feel like banter bubbles is more to go in and find out why a token's moving a certain way, but you know, certain people who are dialed in already kind of have a feel for certain things. So
yeah, I usually am not looking for too much info. Yeah, like these bigger tokens that are going to pop up in these bubbles like that. Most of the time, I feel like, I don't know. It's like, do they ever have like the Pendle of the worlds pop open in these tokens, or like
if they move up enough, I guess, but probably
like,
I don't know. I imagine do you have to be listed top 100? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to go down to the bottom.
Because I guess like the Hex tokens popped in here pretty quickly, so they probably do.
I feel like this is a cool way to look at the market instead of just like looking at
like
CoinGecko. Yeah. So it's fun.
Yeah.
If you got time for that type of thing.
Yeah, I try to make time for that type. I try to make some time for that type. You gotta get an idea of where the market is heading. That's what I always say. I made that comment this week. I know you guys hate it. Tron stablecoin of the year. Oh my goodness. Seriously though, we think about Tron. This thing peaked in the bull market around like 15 cents, 10 cents or something like that. It was like a very short amount of time that you might have like been able to sell it. I really doubt very many people were able to like buy it in that like, oh dang, Tron is 15 cents for like a day and a half. Like it seems like unlikely for the most part compared to all the time that it's been in this like 6-7 cent range, and you could like earn some yield. It's just interesting. I'm just gonna point that out. Not condoning Tron. Not advocating for Tron. Just pointing that out.
All I'm saying is Tron is so far not a security. I don't think.
No,
hasn't been picked up on any security watch lists.
No. Do you know?
Can't say the same about Solana.
Did you hear about why? People were saying like Tron potentially not counted as a security.
No, I did not hear why. Is it because Justin Sun is so cool, or because he has so much money?
No, but Justin is pretty cool.
Oh.
I hear. No, people were saying that it's because these tokens are like gas tokens. Like there's like this gas token clause. We'll call it the gas token clause. Where
the Hinman letter. Huh?
Yeah, is it in there? Because I'm like, I feel like it was maybe it was also maybe that was like the most recent pointing at it. But I think it was also mentioned in some of this older Gary stuff. We actually have a clip of some of this older Gary stuff. But people are saying yes, because these gas tokens are excluded. So Ethereum, obviously a gas token, excluded. Bitcoin, a gas token, excluded. Honestly, BNB will be a gas token.
Cardano,
Cardano, gas token. Tron, all these actual blockchains.
Basically, what they were saying was that a lot of these tokens start as securities, but then they evolved to where they have their own blockchains. They use them for gas fees, and so that makes them not a security. I've been listening to a lot of stuff about that bill where they're talking about how tokens can be a security and then they become a commodity. And dude, that letter that they had unredacted, whatever speech that dude gave is wild. Bill Hinman was a Chad, bro. He was a Chad. If we had him as the SEC director right now, we'd be up only. But we just send you the podcast I listened to. I think it was Paul Barron, but he explained about what like Bill Hinman was doing when he was the SEC director, the SEC chair, and the SEC was like, "Please don't do this because this is going to make it very hard for us." And then he was just like, "No, I don't care." Speculation is that
for us to what?
Speculate.
Cut out for me a little bit.
Oh, breaking up. You keep breaking up.
My bad. I'll just be quiet.
No, we want to hear you.
No, we want. Yeah.
We're just letting you know that it's breaking up. We were trying to hear what you're saying.
So I don't know though.
The SEC.
Yeah.
What was the way that he led into that incident?
He basically was like, he was like, he was a Chad, and he like went in there and he told him not to do something, and then like you cut out.
Okay, so
like, wait,
Bill Hinman was giving all these speech out how a token can begin as a security. Basically, like the token itself isn't a security. It's the way that it's offered to investors, and then eventually, if it's used as a gas token, it's not a security. After that, it becomes an asset. So he was the other shares were basically asking him to stop doing that, because after he left, it was going to make it hard for the SEC to regulate crypto. And so now they're in the spot where they want to hide everything that he said, because it contradicts what the SEC is telling us, that that these are securities. Now were securities. If I don't want to butcher it, but basically they give this example about how these people were they were trading Orange Grove contracts. Now the Orange Groves weren't a security. The oranges aren't a security. The patches of oranges that you have there aren't a security, but the contract that you're using to trade them is the security. So it's just little wordings and little stuff that they do to confuse us and trick us and manipulate us into thinking that these assets that we have are securities, when they might be, they might not be, but they're afraid to regulate them.
Yeah, I do believe I listened to that as well this week. So like I remember that example.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, so, but yeah. To that point of the Hinman period of time, looking back in time, I'll say, I have a little clip here that I'm going to play in a second. But before that, I will preface that was saying that I was also listening to what podcast was it? Maybe it was Crypto Banter. I don't want to give them all the credit this week. It was somebody. Could have been Altcoin Daily. I don't know, but there was somebody, and they were talking about that these or the Gary or in the SEC or other legislators in Gary specifically, are kind of taking this crypto regulation thing as a stepping stone to further their political career. And if they're going to do that, then they need to play the game, as they were calling it. They're like, well, if Gary's going to do that and he's been hired by these people to get this thing across, and you're in there, well, like, this is your job. We want to task you with doing this. And who knows what that one of those tasks is or something like that. Maybe it's stall something for a certain amount of time, but either way, he's got his own things that he's supposed to be doing. And they're like, yeah, right now Gary's he's probably pretty educated on this, or maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But chances are isn't it, and has to do certain things. And so I wanted to mention that right before I play this video, because this, if you're not aware, Gary used to teach crypto at MIT, and I didn't agree with or teach blockchain at MIT, and I didn't agree with everything that he said. In some of these talks, it seemed like some of the things that he was saying even at the time were a little outdated, but there's a lot to keep up with blockchain, so you have to make a syllabus at some point, right? But taking that with a grain of salt, that's partially why Gary has his job at the SEC, because he taught at this prestigious level. And now there's more footage. While we were just talking about the Hinman docs and like all these things trying to be covered up from the past, now there's all this footage emerging of Gary giving his previous opinions about cryptocurrencies and specific cryptocurrencies, and what should and should not be considered a security.
Over 70% of the crypto market is Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Why did I name those four? They're not securities.
So really short clip. You can obviously get like longer clips or sections of this. It's been trending all over crypto Twitter and different crypto outlets recently. So you can get as long as a clip from that. What do I want to call that? Speech. We can just call it speech right now. Speech as you want, but yeah, summation there is Gary listing off a few cryptos that were not securities. And why is that? Typically, these are different cryptos that he listed that have their own blockchains for this whole gas thing that he was talking about. So it's just interesting that when asked, by legislators to specify why he has an opinion on this or that, or just give more directness and why not regulate things, kind of like jumps around and doesn't really want to offer that opinion. But when we look back at previous things when he wasn't tasked with maybe doing something specific, I don't know, he had very obvious opinions on the matter. Your opinion can change over time, of course, but I don't know. Interesting clip all around, in my opinion. Short clip. Any opinions on it from the cast and crew?
That feels a little conspiratorial, in my opinion. I can get behind that. Like, yeah, that does seem a little weird, Yeah, it's okay to look at that side eye. That's the best way to put it. It's okay to look at that side eye. Like,
Okay. All right, Satoshi, any opinions before we move on?
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, yes, you are muted. So you're doing some head check thing.
My bad. I have concerns that some of these Gary videos are AI or something, but I feel like they're trying to get us, man. But it's that bad. It's like, really, Gary? That's what you said? Like,
Man,
damn,
for real,
Gary.
though.
Like, so it's just like, and I guess what his defense is that his personal opinion, doesn't trump what the law would say. But it's just like,
or the marching orders.
If they're paying you to be the smart guy on blockchain, and you're giving your opinion about blockchain, and then someone hires you to regulate, I don't know. I don't know. So do you feel like they hired Gary to be the SEC chair because of his crypto knowledge?
I think that's definitely like
type thing.
That's why you get hired for. That's why I'm like, yeah, that's why it's like embarrassing when he doesn't regulate or like do any he does all these things that seem counter intuitive to okay, this is obviously how that works out, right? Like, if you're gonna play this game, there's certain products within this, like using the orange row thing. I feel like it's obvious to most people in crypto. It's like, yeah, some of these things are straight up yield and maybe controlled by something or whatever the heck. Go after them and do the whole security thing, or even better, get these, get the on ramps and stuff like that, get that regulated, go after the ones that are creating certain, do that like when possible. And there's other things that are just kind of like smart contracts, like left to the wind. And like it's like as decentralized as possible and continuing to be so. Like probably leave those ones alone. But we have this like weird situation where we're like, we got to try to go after all of it to the point that it really just don't make sense. Like, who are you going after? Like, all right, it's like a Hydra situation. Like, okay, so you chop that head down, but it's decentralized. So what's happening next? Like, is Tornado Cat, did it go down? You got the Tornado Cash guy because he developed it, but did it ever go down?
Yeah.
Did money ever stop flowing to it? No, it didn't. It can't. Like, what are you doing?
I like to listen to a lot of boring shit. So I've been listening to the little like crypto hearings on digital assets in Congress and stuff. And so they had one yesterday, and one of the witnesses was this, I forget the guy's name, but he was representing this. I think it's this trading platform called Prometheus. And apparently the SEC gave these guys some type of license to sell cryptocurrency. No one has heard of them before. I have not heard of these people before. The representative they had there, I think it was either their lawyer or their CEO, bro, and he was just constantly talking about how we don't need new regulation for crypto. And he was like, well, we don't need any regulation because now the SEC is giving people these licenses. We're the first ones, and we kind of proved that we don't need new rules, new regulations on crypto. And it's just like, who the fuck are these people? Like, how did they get license when the SEC is saying that all you have to do is come in and apply, and you can get registered or whatever. And it's just like, if your opinion that these assets are not securities, we see you have this opinion in a hearing just like a month ago. Gary was in a hearing where he couldn't say that Ethereum was not a security. The congressman asked him straight up, and he could not answer the question. So to me, the SEC chair can't even say honestly if what he used that Ethereum is security. Clearly it wasn't. For some reason he thinks it is now. Why? It's just like he's being honest about doing, and it's frustrating. And I don't know how that's like he only had like 18 months left on his job. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah, that's why I feel so like,
see you, Gary.
Are you tasked with this? How good old boy is it, getting people in when you get these people? And why I also don't see like much of a difference from like the way that how United States is handling crypto versus how China is handling crypto, quite honestly. It's not like people in China haven't been like, buying crypto and whatever. They just use VPNs. It's like, okay, the government doesn't want us to do it. Boom. It's not happening in China anymore. Like, all right, cool. It didn't take a genius to figure that out. Like, for people that don't think that's happening, like, really? Y'all? But there's the Great Firewall of China. You really think nobody, billion people. You that silly. You that naive. Nobody. A billion people, and they ain't shared with nobody. Again, there's ways to that firewall. I'm sorry. People are really, really smart, and it's not that strong. So, like, I don't know. Like, the United States handles our stuff in a certain way. China handles theirs in a certain way. And all China's doing is being like, yeah, we're gonna like say nobody can use it until we can like slap our own brand on things and like and say that we like usher in the people that we want to like control things and whatnot. And what's the difference in what the United States is doing? Like when they're given like this person that gets a license and it's like why who are they? What experience do they have in this? What experience does Gary have in? I don't own any cryptocurrency. What are you doing? Like you can't have people like. What's the difference then? What's the difference in China being like, yeah, actually nobody's allowed to trade cryptocurrency, but we're going to create our own digital currency, our own cryptocurrency. We're going to call it the digital yuan. Like it's the exact same, folks. But But whatever, we be pointing fingers and stuff like that. In comes the I feel like the ending solution to that is just like they're all going to use blockchain. They're all using and adapting to blockchain. They just want to put their own things on it. Fed now, like we don't want to use any cryptocurrencies that exist, or we don't want to give like Circle or whoever too much power in the block. I guess that we're gonna make our own things. So been anticipated, but there's just things that are gonna exist outside of that. It's gonna be really hard for them to stop. So we'll see where that ends. We'll see where that ends. Want to jump into the charts? Want to jump into the data aggregation charts? We're looking at this is on fees right now. You want to go with revenue? What's the big difference in these two? Okay, never mind. We're gonna keep it on fees. Keep it on fees. Keep it on fees. All right, we're gonna top 25 protocols by fees on Token Terminal. This little platform we like to use to see what's popping, what's gaining, what's catching up with Ethereum. Man, look at that. Hold up. Who is that? Who is this like all the way up here? Who are you? Who is this? Oh, it's Tron. Why are their fees up like that? Whatever, man. Like, because usually they're like down here and stuff, but I don't know. Whatever. Look at whatever. We got Lido not doing bad. A third of Ethereum's fees from Lido. Like, which means if you don't know, Lido does the LSD narrative, liquid stake derivatives of Ethereum. So you can get the benefits of having your Ethereum staked and like proof of stake. So those yields that are entitled to it, while also having a liquid version of that Ethereum. So you do that, and then you get a liquid version of it, and you can potentially use this liquid Ethereum. In the case of Lido, it's STETH is what theirs is called, or they have another one, which is WSTETH. They're both pegged to the price of Ethereum. But you could then use those assets in other DeFi protocols that would accept it and that recognize that it has the same value entitled to it. So what that's telling me is that a lot of people are utilizing Lido for different things. And Lido not only does LSDs are not just Ethereum, but other tokens. So we just talked about a bunch of different gas tokens. All those different gas tokens that their blockchains accrue through fees and stuff. Like, so Tron could also be one, but I don't think Lido does Tron. But those would all also be options. So there's like Lido does Solana and Matic. All these other proof of stake blockchains, they give you liquid staking versions. So you can be entitled to the yield of that asset, and then you can still have like a liquid version of it that you can earn other yields in DeFi with. So stack them yields, basically. Play 3D chess if it's available and automatic and just comes out of your brain with ease. Otherwise, it seems too complicated. Okay, anyways, nice little list here. I wanted to check this out because I don't normally push this button, but there's a gaming button on the side. I'm like, what gaming things are going to pop up here? We got Axie Infinity taking the lead by far. This is in the 7-day. Fees on Axie Infinity, 32,000. That's actually not bad considering when we weren't doing gaming. Or these are millions then, huh? Yeah, these are millions. Okay. We got Decentral Games, our boy Bitfiend, Paragon's DAO, but this is down to like nothing already. And then like these guys can't be like trusted to be making anything that's being counted at least. What happens when we expand this a little bit? Nothing really. Axie Infinity leading the charge. That's why I'm like, people are like, oh, I'm sleeping. I'm like, they got a lot of money. They got a lot of money, y'all. They could just develop like a whole video game console, and people are like, how'd they get that? Like, they got a lot of money. Like, they can do whatever they want to do right now. Axie Infinity comes out with an amusement park. I'm not surprised. They got a lot of money. They can put that down on something. So, just saying. Don't be sleeping on like some things. Sometimes you just want to follow the money. Like, you don't got to be like going crazy and things. But yeah, the money is just all over Axie. Any other fun takeaways from this? We could scroll through this all we want, but yeah, check out this platform for some data aggregation.
I need you to give me some MUX stats, bro. I've been looking at MUX a little bit lately. I've been looking at the price a little bit. Like, man, this MUX looking kind of good over here.
And I haven't even been looking at the token price, honestly. I need to.
Thinking about taking one of my businesses over there and doing some flipping.
Yeah. I mean, I mess with the MUX. I think that's like my favorite. A perp DEX in like DeFi is MUX for sure. I like Level, but the MUX UI and stuff like that, I think is super.
You use it on Arbitrum?
I use it on both Arbitrum and Binance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a muxer. That's why I'm like, that's why I had to buy some Mux tokens a few months back because I was like, I just keep using it. I gotta buy the tokens then.
Is that the official name for the Mux community? The Muxers?
Oh, I don't know.
The Mux,
Could be
I feel like it could be the Maxis.
the Maxis, the Hudsuckers.
I don't know.
It's a totally different letter. All right, looking at these Origin Protocol in there. Origin Protocol now is in part of the LSD narrative. That might be helping out. They have OETH. If you don't know what OETH is, it's we spoke about OUSD before, but just the fact that there's these tokens that you can like similar to these LSDs that we're talking about, right? You can deposit your token in a smart contract, and then the token that you deposited will be used to go out and farm yields with, right? And so in the case of OETH, you can deposit tokens as a smart contract, and they use that and they go out and earn yields with it. And during rebases, so you now have this liquid stake derivative ETH token, this OETH, which is worth 1 ETH. And during a rebase of the OETH token, you get more OETH sent to your wallet. Now, of course, at any point in time, you can take your OETH and exchange it for actual Ethereum, either via swap or via the actual platform. So you can go put it in the pool and stuff. But yeah, it's a auto yield earning, auto compounding Ethereum token. That's also what I think WST ETH from Lido is. I believe is also like really similar to that. Don't misquote me. I don't know what the epochs are. I've only read about it so much, but I'm pretty sure it's exactly like pretty similar to that. There's like another one of them that like you just it's like when you actually go redeem the ETH, it just becomes worth more. I forget which one that is, but yeah, worth looking into if you're into those type of tokens where you can like actually earn a yield on Ethereum with these LSDs, because some of them people just don't even know what the heck they're. There's so much happening, people don't know what's happened. Worth looking into. On DeFi Llama, this is the LSD section, so they actually have a whole section on DeFi Llama designated to LSDs. Again, that stands for liquid stake derivatives. So it's ETH liquid staking. It's this section right here. Now, I'm sure they don't have all of the different protocols that play in this area that's known as LSDFi, ETH LSDs. And again, there can be LSDs that are not just ETH. So this is not everything, but this is a nice little starting point for you. So like, see Lido at the top there. We saw Lido on token terminal as well. CB ETH, Coinbase ETH, Poor Coinbase, Rocket Pool, Frax, and so on and so on. Yeah, so Coinbase was making it so that people could do their whole ETH staking things. It's similar to like what Lido's doing. All Coinbase did is like we're gonna like basically clone like Lido and stuff and do it for Coinbase users so they can take part of that stuff, since that's where the yield's coming from. We're not generating the yield, we're not creating it. Ethereum is creating it. That's what it does. So again, for them to get in trouble for that is like all right, cool. Like again, like I'm like, yeah. Eventually more people will wake up and be like, that just exists on chain in multiple forms, and that's all there. Just you could have had all that being United States taxes. That's my thing. Is like we see all this money flowing into all these millions of dollars in a week. It's like this could be U.S. taxes, and now it's going to not be. And like, why exactly? Like when we're like, we have deficits and stuff like, well, doesn't that mean you want more? Like, what are you doing? It seems stupid to me. Like China's like, yeah, let's take some of that. If they're gonna be that dumb, we got financial woes too. We'll see how it plays out, man. But they do every day now. Like I forgot what the new China news was today, but there was like something else where they're like, yeah, like now it's like people are like allowed to like openly trade or whatever, and like okay. All right, some fun stuff on banking. Going into the tweet section of the day. This is also from Token Terminal, and so this is just putting decentralized options against centralized options. Do you guys know the logo on the right?
Yeah.
Infinite with that. Yeah, that's Robinhood.
Okay.
What the logo on the left though?
Uniswap, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, you got it. Okay. Man, like play the Mulan song, bro. Like, man, okay. Infinite, make a man out of you. All right, so there's just a difference between these two. So they're saying smart contracts, predictable trading, and some of this is like, it's a little biased, but whatever. Legal contracts, ad hoc changes, which they do. They just like randomly like what does that mean? Like Robinhood's like actually, we're going to be delisting Matic and ADA and all these things, and we'll be automatically selling your assets on whatever date because we feel like maybe these people will target us and won't be good for our business. Not that we've even been asked to. That would be an ad hoc change that drastically affects your user base. That's not happening on Uniswap. Like, so that's like one of those options. Open source and auditable. Yeah, gotten this conversation with your friend Gabe. I'm like, yeah, but like some of these things are like when it's open source like that and it's been tried and tested for like years. Like a lot of these businesses that we like so much they're not letting their stuff be open source. They're like, yeah, it's secure, but I really don't want nobody looking at it so they can try to bust through it. Crypto's like, yeah, here it is. We know it's going to make it more difficult. We like that. And it's like, yeah, sometimes they get through, but it's like, all right, well, it's Darwinism, quite honestly. So this gets even better. There's some, where are the rest of these? There's quite a few of these little images they have. No. But where do I get the rest of them? Let me go to the page real quick. I love this little layout they had here of plentiful of these. Maybe I have to get it from the actual. I hope I can still share it. It had quite a few different options like that listed side by side. It was fun to look at, but I think this is going to be like, yeah, it's going to be closed out. Dang them! Man, I wonder how they posted those. All right, well, that ruins that fun. There was a whole bunch of different like banking options versus crypto options. Basically, everything that is in traditional finance laid out against its blockchain counterpart, and the differences between those two. Oftentimes, the difference in the crypto versus traditional or centralized finance version of that product would just be the crypto one is open source. Like in all possibilities. Gabe and I, your friend, also got in that conversation about like he's like, oh, we can also see like the earnings of like businesses. Like I can see the earnings of Amazon and this and that. And I'm like, and you can, but you have to wait until certain periods to like. I don't think you can just get like every single like you're not getting like every Kroger's revenue from that day, like just list. I don't think they report that. No, there's like little gaps and things in our system where there is reporting, but it's not all like it's tight and it's not being fed to like the mass public to the extent that it is on chain. So like, yeah, we do have data collection and you can find certain things, but I don't know. It's apples and oranges in that case, and I like the transparency that it's that much more transparent. And it's not just me. We have the SWIFT system obviously likes it. China obviously likes it. Like all these countries like it. All these businesses like it. All these banks actually like it. So there has to be something more to it, whether or not like it's being advertised as the cool thing or not. The technology just works and people like it more. But moving on to this blog here, it says the crypto tsunami. We'll read it and then give you guys a chance to guess what it might be. You're being distracted. It says the crypto tsunami is approaching, bringing trillions to the industry, and nobody is talking about it. What do you guys think the topic is that they're referring to? It's funny because we were just talking about somebody who's very much traditional finance minded.
Fucking AI. That's what I'm gonna say.
AI, Infinite. Remember, this is a crypto writer here. This is a crypto writer, so it could be. Who knows what it's gonna be?
I really don't know.
What are you being distracted from? What's actually happening on blockchain that you're being distracted from? I actually kind of just lit into it a little bit, so it was a nice lead in. Yo, you want a second run at it?
Nope.
All right.
I don't got shit.
The thesis: we are moving closer to the mass adoption of blockchain technology. Big players are taking necessary steps to prepare for the coming crypto tsunami. I mean, as somebody who works for like a DeFi company that like is like former like hedge fund investors and stuff, like you kind of see it a little closer hand and like where some of these people are like imagining things of going and stuff, like seeing it like as happening. By the end of the decade, blockchain tech will be part of the lives of every person on this planet. Intro, blah blah blah. Anyways. Like, where did they say like the exact acronym of it? Where is intro to blockchain technology avenues? Swift. So Swift using Link, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, chain link. The answer is RWA. Do you guys know what RWA stands for?
I do not.
Satoshi. Maybe not just like maybe not even just crypto. What is that?
Real world.
Yeah, real world assets coming on chain. So like when we're talking about things like FedNow and just the Federal Reserve, and these people are like actually showing interest in things like Chainlink, these blockchain based oracles that provide price feeds for off chain, on chain assets. It's so that you can move assets from the real world. You can track them on chain. When I'm talking about these different companies see value in blockchain technology, like I'm not just like, it's not me being like just total bias on like crypto. Like some of these things are actually just being used, and it's like either you pay attention to how technology is being used or you don't. That's just point blank it. You don't have to. I don't even like. It's not like I hold a bunch of Chainlink. I think it'll go up, but like I could be more like just a Chainlink bull or something like that. But like whether or not the price of Chainlink goes up, I don't really care. What I do care, the technology around it is being used, and like pretty much everybody in blockchain can recognize that. You're like, yeah, but the technology is being. That's like how we do this connection of different things. When the whole synthetic assets thing came on chain, and people were trying to like put gold on, they're using oracles. So there's certain things you just can't ignore. This is going to go through this whole thread is going to go through a bunch of different connections and things that people are probably ignoring. But it's like, yeah, these are like the biggest entities of money markets in the world that are using this technology. They're not sleeping. Why are they using blockchain technology while talking bad about it in certain other places? So they're actually using that exact. So they're using some of the products in the case, but like at the same time, it's like, oh, we gotta regulate this and that and blah blah blah. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's you got to read between the lines and like see what people are actually doing versus what they're just saying. So yeah, real world data, events, and payments. It's like there is going to be an intermingling of this. Like my whole thesis with blockchain, I'll leave it at this. But my whole thesis with blockchain is just like it's an evolution of the financial system. Like yes, things from traditional finance are being put on chain or being redone in a certain matter on chain. But that's just because like. Number one, like again, it's an evolution of that. So if you're able to track things better, that's going to happen. And then number two, it's honestly just a case of like even if this is the evolution of something that exists in traditional finance, you're like, oh, wouldn't it just be like nice if we had like that same amount of liquidity that bank or whatever the heck on chain and everything was open and yeah, it would be, but they don't want to. So somebody else has that opportunity, and when somebody else gets that opportunity, it looks a little bit different and it develops in a different way, and that's all we're seeing. But regardless, it is like the next step in technology, in financial technology, and all these financial institutions and countries seem to be accepting it for its technological advances. You don't have to be a bull on the price, but some of the technology stuff is like really hard to combat. Any comments? Any points? Stop at all different reports that you just read about this little stuff. This is mostly about Chainlink being used as an oracle for these on-chain or real-world assets to get on-chain.
I think Chainlink needs some bullish news for sure. It's been a while since I heard Chainlink trending for anything, so I'm happy that they are still out there working, and hopefully this is bullish for them.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if like I feel like they're the biggest oracle project. I don't think anybody has like in terms of like market dominance. Yeah, they got that in the bag, in my opinion. All right. We'll talk about moving on chain, things on chain, off chain, back forth. There's a question from James Pelton that I liked. I thought it was interesting because then it gives you a whole little thing that you can scroll down. So his question is, where in the U.S., given all the uncertainty, is a safe place to turn fiat into crypto, and maybe vice versa? So like, what are some on-ramp, off-ramps? But in this case, is specifically, how do you turn fiat into crypto? Like they're shutting down like these different exchanges. Maybe you want to get into crypto. Especially honestly, if you're going to like a different country, like from the United States, you can just get into crypto. Might even save you on like exchange rates. I don't know. But how do you do it? So he's got all these different options. Of course, somebody lists Drip. People, they do have like an on-ramp now. Just Hado. There's some good options in here. Where are the actual ones? I feel like I've seen some Gemini. This has been some time since it's been listed. Some Gemini, some Cash App, some. Oh yeah, I think Robinhood was still an option. So some of these things are still options. It's not like not all assets. Have you crypto.com, Giddy DeFi, but yeah, this is just like a whole thread of options. CoinZoom, Oh yeah, like I don't know. I don't really trust the whole PayPal and Venmo thing, but I do remember that they like made some changes there. Coinbase still. So my real reason for bringing this up and letting go into this list of people saying all their different ways that they can get crypto is that there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and people are like, oh, this and that, it's doom and gloom, but at the same time, the vast majority of things are just kind of operating as normal. It just kind of is what it is. This is a fun one. Farouk. Do you guys, either of you guys know who this guy is? Oh, dang it. Don't look at the side. It's ruined. He's the founder of Rug Radio.
That's the fucking Bored Ape dude, ain't it?
I mean, he probably owns a Bored Ape.
Bored Apes. He used to anyway.
He owns a lot of NFTs. He's all about NFTs. He made a bunch of money off of NFTs. And he just does like a morning Twitter Spaces podcasts where they talk about pretty much, it's like almost like exclusively NFTs and stuff. They talk about crypto and blockchain and NFTs. Like, you guys really need to talk more like DeFi or something, but whatever. Anyways, this is a great tweet from him, I thought. It says Congress could have said in 1930s that securities laws applied only to stocks and bonds. This is something ushered out of Gary Gensler's mouth in reference to like why the rules are what they are. And so like basically he's like, well, we could, if we wanted the rules to be something different, we could have done that in the 1930s. Why wouldn't they have said that in the 1930s? So Farouk went on a little tirade here and just like listed a bunch of things that were not, the law was different in the 1930s. And so it's quite the snapback, in my opinion. I'm like, this is kind of saucy. What's an absurd statement to make? What else was illegal in different parts of the U.S. in the 1930s? Because that's right, things are illegal in different parts of the United States. The production and importation of sales of alcohol. So yeah, alcohol was illegal at the time. Gary, that seemed to change. That was pretty big. It's a pretty big part of the culture.
I seen a video.
Go ahead.
I seen a video when I did to make it to where you can't drive drunk anymore, and the people were talking about how they're taking away their rights to drive drunk. And this dude was like, man, he was like, can't even get off work and drink a couple beers on the way home. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And they were seriously thinking we were going to take away their rights because they had to put on seatbelts and because they couldn't drive drunk. It was very interesting.
That's what people be like. Yeah, we got interracial marriage on the list. Shopping on Sunday. That's like a crazy one to think about. Shopping on a Sunday. Because we're all pious. So don't be shopping on Sundays. Buying a 15.5 ounce beer. Beer can't be too big. That's like goodbye, New Orleans. Drinking on election day. That's also like a really weird one. Like that was okay at any point in time. Mocking someone for not agreeing to a duel. You can still duel people, so that's like interesting. Like it's interesting. And then Sunday football, because I guess football was around and we just couldn't do it on Sundays. Must be why you have college football on Saturdays. But for Gary to make, I don't know, it's one of those type of statements where it's just like, did you even think when you said that? You were really just, I don't know. But it's also one of those statements where now I don't touch on these topics often. But I feel like it's the type of thing that would more than likely come out of the mouth of a privileged white man. Like, quite honestly, where I'm like, it's like one of those things where like I remember or like I'll start with this, where it's like one of those things where like people are like, what time period would you love to travel back to? And it's like, I'm black. I don't know. Like that's like my answer. I'm like, I don't know, dude. That's a loaded question. Like, I remember going to like this event one time, and they were like, oh yeah, like pin on this like this world map. It was like a big world map or whatever. And people were coming in. They were like, yeah, pin where you're from. And I was like they pin where your ancestors are from. And I was like, oh, it's some shit.
Y'all dirty.
This some, and like all the white people or Latino people are just like, right here. What you mean? Right here. And I'm just like, it's different. It's just different. That's like certain people get to answer those and like not have to think about some of these other repercussions. Other people are like, there's a little bit more to that. Not that you can't know, but it's a lot harder for some of us to know.
I don't know.
And the same thing can be for certain Latinos.
I don't know what we did to deserve Gary, but I wish we would not have done that shit. I wish we could rewind it and like go over again and apologize to the universe.
Hey, may he be the last one. May he be the last one.
I seriously do believe that, like, the amount of votes that Biden won by the last election, like, it was very slim margin of victory. I think that there could be some swinging that could be done by if all the crypto bros decided to vote, bro. We
decided to vote. I know they don't, but they decided
I ain't. I know you know who ain't me. Hey, actually, you know what? Dr. Cornell West. He fucking around to get my vote, but I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop before I get us fucked around out here.
Oh my goodness! All right. Before we start to conclude today, we've run through all topics. There was one last video that we actually didn't get to go through. This is the actual Jerome Powell. I just wanted to make sure that we actually had some of what the Federal Reserve actually said today, or what Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, said today.
And we'll get to see. We don't know the full extent of the consequences of the banking turmoil that we've seen. It would be early to see those, but we don't know what the extent is. We'll have some more time to see that unfold. I mean, it's just the idea that we're trying to get this right. And this is, if you think of the two things as separate variables, then I think that the skip, I shouldn't call it a skip, the decision makes sense.
All right. So that was in response to, again, there's no Fed rate hikes, but what a lot of people didn't like, and what a lot of what I was hearing crypto analysts and influencers say that they feel like started to tank the market that much more around that time, specifically the crypto market, was Jerome's remarks around the it being a skip, and then them saying that, like, yeah, there's probably gonna be like 2 more rate hikes within the year. So that's like, it's like, yeah, you can celebrate now, but you get this 1 month. We'll be back, everybody. So to be determined. I also think it's interesting that, like, when we're considering like the tech stocks and whatnot, actually been performing like really well. I feel like I was looking like at Apple recently, and they're like, honestly, I'm like, that's not really a high far from your all-time high. And I think it said like tech stocks in general, like the NASDAQ or something like that, was only like 10% off from like its all-time high. I'm like, that don't really, we saying what we want to say, but I feel like certain narratives feel like people just be trying to push certain narratives. And again, it feels like the market is like more like bullish, and then like there needs to be certain types of things to like actually hold it back. But to be determined. Yeah, my fellow Degens, go around the circle, do a little show and tell feeling time as we close out today. Anything you'd like to share? So how you feeling about the market? The end of things here, Satoshi.
I'm sick of FOMCs. I'm done with those. Who the fuck is Prometheus? Who are these guys that got a crypto license? You should go watch the hearing from yesterday. That it was very interesting. Because they had Jeremy Allaire from Circle. They had the guy from Prometheus, and I'm drawing a blank on who else was there. But it was very interesting the way that these people were talking to the Prometheus guy. They were very much like, "Who are you guys? Like, where'd y'all come from?" So that was interesting. It's interesting that the Congress people are like they're like learning slowly. It's interesting. But I don't understand why the FOMC wasn't priced in today, because like everyone expected them to pause. Like the stats on the pause was like very high, and I'm like, why are we, like, we knew, well, we expected it, so I didn't really get it. But I'm so impartial. I ain't selling nothing. I ain't dumping nothing. I'm not necessarily. I bought some stuff before this last crash. I'm looking to hedge and short some shit. That's what I'm looking to do. I have my spot stuff, but I want to short at the same time to kind of hedge a little bit. So
I feel like I should have shorted like a long time ago. I was gonna short. At this point, I'm like, it's like so exhausting. Like I don't know how much. Again, we're about to meet my Bitcoin target. And I'm like, man, I know it could go like it could potentially go lower or whatever, but like I felt like I set that target as like, okay, this is like before this is the okay, it got bad, and then like the only other one is like, it got really bad, and that's like the 21,000 or whatever, and it's like, yeah, but like other than that, it's like, and like I feel like that's kind of like the infinites like thing that you said earlier, where it's like it's pretty much gotten as bad as it could get then. Where I'm like, yeah, you got 21,000 left, and like quite honestly, people that are holding for 24 are probably just gonna get stuck, and it's just like, you got the traders, that bounced around from 24 to 21. Like nobody else is like, I feel like the money's gonna stop. Like you get this next little push, and anything past that is people that just like, all right, because like I'm not a magician, I can't just time the bottom, I can't time the top. And I was actually like seeing something recently from that, like, so I listened to like a Bloomberg. What the heck is the name of their show? I don't know. It's got the guy that looks like he's got like the owl glasses, I'll call them, little perchy glasses, and the British man and that lady. I'm really descriptive, and I'm really descriptive like that. But they were just saying something similar where the guy's like, yeah, there's a lot of investors throughout the end of 2022 and the end of 2023 that are kind of just like they just been buying out, and he's like, and some of them have been he's talking about tech and crypto, and he's like, and some of them have just been like, maybe they've been wrong about their investment throughout 2022, but they were wrong because they also realized that they can't time the bottom. And they're like, yeah, I got to buy it when it's low, and sometimes it's not pretty, it might go lower. And it's like, yeah, that's just the case. Like if you know something, you're like, okay, I actually believe in that thing though. You can try to be perfect, but that's why we DCA, so that you can get part of that. You probably won't get it all, but you can get part of it. One thing, Infinite, hit us with it.
Yeah, still the same. Trend toward bearish. But
I'm high. Crypto looking.
but I honestly do believe that we're almost around the corner. I still think there could potentially be one or two more bad things. I hate our news cycles. Because it doesn't feel like the banking stuff's completely gone. It doesn't feel like the whole like job situation is completely gone. There's like a couple things that I'm kind of like.
Even the inflation numbers seem fucking fake.
Well,
like we've been like 12 straight down months on this inflation print, and I get it. I do feel like the Fed is working for that. Like they're really maxing. They're maxing the they maxed out the pain in the market. I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if it is max. That's part of the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is like, I think there could be some space for some more.
My thing is that the stock market is going wild right now. So
they're not really stopping stocks.
Yeah, the stock market. Well, those tech stocks, like you said, are going crazy. Everything else is flat.
One of the dudes I listen to just says, that's just AI mania. We're too far from AI really, really doing what they say it is, and he was talking about NVIDIA, and he's like, they said they were going to make some money that he's like, I don't think they can make. They've maxed out on like all the people they could sell to, and he's like, and if whatever they think they're going to sell to make that much money is like, he's like, I don't see it, and people are believing too much into the hype of AI, and like. I was kind of like, I can kind of see that because, people kind of hear it. Like, oh, God, it's going to change everything. It's going to break everything, and it's like, there's some truth to that because, like, when I think of AI, I think it's always going to be wrong unless as a culture we can do the whole, we're in it together. And like, that's what makes it so scary to me is like, I just don't think we're anywhere near us as a group, as a culture, as a world can have the energy of like we're in it together. Like it that feels so far away from kind of us as a culture at the moment, so it's like
feels like I feel like it could be like somebody could be like, yeah, AI solve the world hunger problem, and AI's like, this would solve it, and it's like, solve it for my country mostly. Right?
just for me.
And it's just like,
Just for
why
me.
wouldn't you just solve it? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's like where we're at.
And so, like for me, I just it doesn't feel quite done. We still need to sort some things out, because it's like I still think people can lose their jobs, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, but it's like
No.
I still think people can lose their jobs. I still think like the money situation isn't quite where it needs to be, and I don't think anybody should feel extremely confident at the moment, and it's like you can still get smacked in the mouth, basically, and that's how I see it.
Yeah. Bloomberg also mentioned Ohio is like a pretty bad state for like unemployment, specifically the capital. I was like, oof, ouch. But yeah, I see those points. Okay, yeah, could definitely, things could happen. We shall see.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Any that was like my last thing was like I totally agree, like it could be a AI mania, as we'll call it. But I feel like certain things like again, like I feel like I have to look at their specifics, but Apple stock, I know they're like pretty high up right now. I feel like certain things like that just have other catalysts outside of AI. Like they did have their new launch recently, which is like, but that's not like the only catalyst. And quite honestly, as the internet seemed to agree, it's too expensive for most people. Ain't nobody getting that. But they're up. And like, why is Apple up? Like, other than AI, or like I guess maybe they have that catalyst, but other than their wearables,
That device.
like I think another reason they might be up is because they just put down their first store in India. They just got the first Apple store in India. I mean, it's like 2-3 weeks old.
I didn't know that.
Like,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'm like, so like they've been building toward, but like I'm like insiders had to. If you're paying attention to Apple, I'm sure you like they knew like, okay, Apple's about to put down in India. It's like, okay, we got our first Apple store in India, and like I'm like, that's billions of people. That's a large market. That's a large market for one of the most successful cell companies. So when I see the Apple chart like up on this upward track, like the Apple chart look crazy. I'm like, it looked like it should be topped out, but I think it might just run past this top and do like a crazy like parabolic run up or something like that. And it kind of makes sense. I'm like, it's outside of the narrative. It makes sense. You have a whole new market. Like they could just make a totally new device that's cheaper for like people just for that market. And it's just like, it's just going off. Like that's just what people buy there. Like,
and
there's going to be a whole bunch of, there's a lot more people going to be buying those chargers.
And it is Apple, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, like you talk about Bitcoin, is like, is it really going to go below 2,100? You look at ETH and you're like, is it really going to go below 700? Is it going to go away? And you're like, nah, I just can't see it. And Apple's one of those companies where it's like, you look at it and it's like, you might not like them, because I'm one of those proponents. It's like, I'm not going to buy an Apple. I just don't like it. But it's like, do I think you're supposed to sleep on Apple? Do I think it's going to go away? It's like, no.
It's a no fade.
Yeah.
That's a no fade. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's my one thing where it's like, yeah, I would pay attention to that. It's been really interesting. Tech stocks. A lot of people were just saying, yeah, it's a matter of like, crypto seems to be like really lagging behind because stocks are like really on fire. Tech stocks are like really on fire. And some of them, as I kind of point out there, have other narratives just running for them where it's like, yeah, this is just like open to a whole new market. And who knows what they'll do in those markets, because I guarantee you, India is not the market for the new headset. But other products it might be for. But maybe, I don't know, maybe there's like a ton of like billionaires, but I know it's like one of the more, it's got a lot of people, and a lot of them are living in poverty. So, but we'll see where that heads. Satoshi stepped away, but that's okay because we're wrapping up today's stream. We went through our whole thing with everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Trustless Degens. Pretty sure this is episode 33. Did I put 33 in there? It's something like that. We'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. And don't piss off Jerome Powell, or he'll become your mother's